Hey guys, okay, just like we covered in class, I will be doing the demo tutorials that we did during class. We'll start off with the tiger. So first we downloaded the background plate of the forest and our tiger. So first we're going to go to our quick selection tool, increase your brush size using the left and right brackets, and then you can just sweep across the tiger to make a nice quick selection. And if you want to check your selection, press the Q hotkey to enter into quick mask mode. And as you can see, we've got some spots that we need to clean up. Now if you want to clean up the spots, you can either, while in quick mask mode, use your brush, hit the B shortcut, increase and decrease your brush size as you need to. Make sure that you're painting in black and your opacity is at 100. And then clean up your selection however you need to. And if you hit the X shortcut, you're going to switch your foreground and background color, and you'll be painting in white, which will subtract from your mask. So you can keep your finger on the X key and alternate between black and white as you refine your mask. Remember, the space bar is your hand tool if you want to move. Now obviously if you're using a Wacom tablet, this is going to be more accurate and also a lot quicker. But since most of you don't have Wacom tablets available, as you can see here, it's possible to do the work that we need to do using a mouse. It can be done. And don't forget that you can also switch while in quick mask mode over to your lasso tool or your polygonal lasso. And you can make selections that way as well, which might be a little bit quicker than using the brush tool. You make a selection, go over to your gradient and paint bucket tools, select the paint bucket tool. You can also hit G shortcut, which will take you to that tool. And remember, if you hit Shift and G, oops, Oops, I'm sorry. We will reselect, Control D to deselect. We'll make that selection again. Now use the G shortcut to go to your paint bucket tool. Make sure you're using black and fill it. Hit Control D to deselect. Then you can go back to your polygonal lasso tool, which you just use the L shortcut. And you can keep making selections, hit G, use the paint bucket, or you can switch back over to the brush tool, but make sure you hit Control D to deselect your mask. And we'll just quickly finish off our selection. You can also use the brush tool to outline a border like this and make sure that you're not missing any gaps, and then use the G shortcut for the paint bucket and then fill it in. Now, if we were taking more time with this, the selection would be a lot better, just as I mentioned in class. Okay, now you can zoom back out, exit quick mask mode by using the Q key. You can see that you have your selection. Here we missed a little bit of the leg. That's okay, because we can go back into brush mode with B, re-enter quick mask mode with the Q key. Make sure you're drawing with white. and we can get the rest of his leg back. Exit quick mask with the Q key, and then we are going to hit Control C. Make sure you're on the layer with the tiger. Hit Control C, and then go to your background. Hit Control V. Use the Control T shortcut to transform, and then you're going to want to hold down the Shift key and drag to keep your selection in proportion. If you don't use the Shift key, remember we said you're going to get all shades of funky proportions, so make sure that you don't do that unless that's the effect you want. But use the Shift key to shift and drag to maintain proportion. Shift and Alt will scale it based on that center point. So we're going to scale the tiger down, place part of him behind the tree, and then you're going to go to your background layer. We're going to delete that white background. Go to your background, click and drag that layer down to the new layer icon. That'll make a copy, and drop that above the tiger layer. Once you have that copy of the background, you're going to add a layer mask. Right now, the entire background is being shown because anything that is white on the mask will be shown. Anything that is black on the mask will be not shown. So you're going to hit Control A, and you can go up to Edit, Fill, and Black. Hit OK. And now your tiger is back. The background is still above the tiger. Hit Control D to deselect. Now make sure that you are in the mask, not the layer, but the mask. And then go back to your selection tools, which you can hit L for the polygonal lasso. And we're going to make a selection right where the tree is. And then you can go to Edit, Fill, and White. Now your tiger is behind the tree. And you can make a secondary copy of the tiger. You can hit Control T, click and drag that, hit Shift, scale this one down, drag it over here. We might want to scale that down just a little bit more. Move him there, and then go up to Edit, Transform, Flip Horizontal. Now he's going a different direction. Hit V to move your selection. And then you can repeat the same process. Go back to your background layer, enter the mask, go to your selection tools by using L to go back to your polygonal lasso, grab a selection of this tree, there you go, and then you can go to Edit, Fill, White. Now that guy's behind the tree too. Okay. So now that we have that you'll want to match the lighting. And all you have to do is go to the layer below the tigers, make a new layer, hit B, paintbrush, select Alt for your eyedropper tool, select a nice dark green, use your brush tool, make sure you're matching the direction of the light, and add a little shadow underneath the tiger. Do that to both of them. You're going to want a little bit darker down here. And it doesn't have to be perfect because we're going to blur that anyway. And as you can see, we're missing part here. So we'll have to clean up the layer mask so that way the tree is actually covering this paw. And all you have to do is go back to the mask itself, use your brush, hit D to go to your default colors so that way it is black and white. And then once you're in your brush, you can switch that brush to black, actually white, excuse me, and you can brush that out. And see how I covered over part of the shadow and went too far? You can hit X. Now you're drawing in black, and you will bring that part back. Now go back to your shadow layer, go up to Filter, Blur, Gaussian Blur, blur your shadow, go to your layer mode, hit multiply, and you can also add shadows to the tigers themselves by going above the tiger layer. Same process, select dark color, add a shadow, just a little bit, filter, blur, Gaussian blur, multiply layer. There you go. Now there's a little bit of a shadow on the tiger themselves. Okay, then to finish up, remember we added text. So go to your text tool. You can either select the button or hit T for text. Write in whatever you would like. Scale your text however you want to. Place it in the middle, place it off to the side. Okay. Now we made another copy of the tiger. Click and drag. Hit Control T so you can scale it. Make sure that the entire tiger pattern is within the letters. put your tiger above the text, right click on the layer, select create clipping mask, and now the tiger pattern is inside the letters. And then you can go back to the text layer, add a layer style, add some effects. You can bevel and emboss it. You could add a stroke to it. However you want to finish off the image. And you can also make it a little bit more punchy by going to adjustments, hue saturation, up the saturation, and now you've got a nice bright tiger pattern. And there's your image. So next we covered very quickly the content aware fill. Go to L for your lasso. Use the regular lasso instead of the polygonal. Select that. Hit Shift F5. Select content aware. And repeat the process. Shift F5, content aware. Shift F5, content aware. And remember, we said that this area is a little more complicated because of the content aware fill is trying to select pixels from around the selection. So that just makes it worse. You can go to your clone stamp tool, which is the S shortcut. Increase your brush size, hit Alt, pick a point where you want to copy. And remember, there was the little trick of Alt, right click, left and right is your brush size. Up and down will increase and decrease hardness. That's Alt, right click, up and down, left and right. And this can be a little bit better. You can also decrease your opacity to kind of blend it in a little bit better. And you can do the same for right here. This area with the plants could be really tricky, but you can also decide to trim the plants if you really want to. Nobody's gonna know. And remember, we also said that if you're just prepping this for a background plate and there will be objects sitting in front of these areas, you don't need to spend time fixing them because nobody will see it. So here I just took out the entire cement line. And you can clean this up as much as you'd like, but the basic process is exactly the same. You could even go here, select this crack, select modify feather like we had talked about, so that way the edges of your selection are softer. Hit Control C, Control V, use the V shortcut to move, and you can drop in the new sidewalk line, and then just use your eraser tool with shortcut E, go here. You can clean that up a little bit and nobody will know. And that is how you make people disappear using the auto content aware fill. So we will see you in class.